Hello everyone, in this video I will show you how to calculate forward cover in a planning tool in Excel or Google Sheets. In here we can see a simple planning tool. It's very basic and has only a few positions. We have split for weeks of sales, 53 weeks, and then we have fields for opening stock value, our forecast of sales at cost, additional supply if it's planned, and closing stock value. Basically, a closing stock value is opening stock minus sales plus the new supply. Obviously, the closing stock value becomes the opening stock value for the next week. Everything starts with a good forecast or sales plan. And on this chart we can see that sales over the year are not flat. It's kind of a seasonal, there are peaks here and there. So our orders also need to address these changes. Good stock control will secure the sales, but will also keep the stock on the optimal level. We don't want to order the whole stock at once because of many reasons. It might not be even possible to order everything. Besides, we want to keep the storage cost as low as possible. We need to balance our cash flow. We definitely cannot freeze our money in stock. Also, some goods may lose their properties if stored for too long, like food. Forward cover will tell us for how many weeks our sales are secured. For instance, our closing stock value in week 1 is 642, and sales for the next 3 weeks is 611. So we are secured for 3 weeks of sales. But if we don't order any goods within that time, our sales for week 5 will not be delivered. Obviously, we can make these calculations manually, but every adjustment to the forecast or orders will cause rework, and we don't want that. We want the calculations to be automated, and I will show you how to do it. Before we move on to the forward cover calculation, I would like to remind you, or introduce if you like, formula called offset, which is going to be a building block for forward cover. The basic application for this formula would be referring to another cell in a spreadsheet and then moving somewhere else by specifying the coordinates. So imagine this, we can simply refer to the cell D7, but if we want to get 95, which is C5, we need to move 2 rows to the top and 1 column left. As you can see, the formula has also 2 additional parameters in square brackets. These can be used to draw a table. Another example, we want to sum this data table in a cell using offset. The starting point remains the same, which is D7. So now we move 2 rows down, 1 column to the right, and height of our data table is 5 and width is 2. Ah yes, we put some formula on the top. That's pretty simple, isn't it? The offset formula is very powerful because we can utilize the other formulas to get the parameters dynamically. For instance, formula called match finds its application here. Okay, let's go back now to the forward cover. I will get rid of that chart now because we need to make space for additional data table. And we put 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 20. This will be number of the weeks we want to have cumulative sales for. I'll name it cumulative sales ahead. The formula here is sum, offset, the starting point is the next week sales. We don't move anywhere. Range height is 1 and range width is dynamic, and we will use the numbers we put aside before. Just remember to freeze the starting point in rows and the range width, which is the number of the weeks, in columns. Now we can drag the formula down and see how it works. 4 weeks from now is 790, and that is correct. And now it's time to the actual forward cover formula. So we start with sum if our closing stock value is bigger than this range, then give 1, if not give 0, double ending bracket, and we need to apply it as an array formula, Ctrl+Shift+Enter. What is going on here is that we create a virtual table which assigns 1 to each cumulative sales smaller than our closing stock value and 0 when this condition is not met. This way we calculate for how many weeks our sales are secured. If we now put additional supply in week 1, the forward cover will change. But it won't be bigger than 20 because this is how many weeks we took into cumulative sales. Obviously we can change it if we like. What is still missing here is that forward cover is expressed in full weeks only. We don't see 3.5 week, it's either 3 or 4. And this is what we need to do to improve it. The remaining part of the week will be calculated the following way. I will write the formula aside for now. Our closing stock value minus sum offset, starting point is next week's sales, not moving anywhere. The range height is 1 and the range width is the forward cover we calculated before. 31 is what's left from our closing stock value after 3 weeks of sales. Now we need to find out what part is this of, in this instance, the 4th week. We divide the current calculation by offset, starting point the next week's sales, not moving anywhere in rows, but we move in columns with the value of our previous forward cover calculation. And let's round down the whole result to only 1 decimal place. I need to do small rearrangements here, drag down full forward cover calculation and label it, and label the remaining part of the week too. The final forward cover would be the sum of these two. To finalize the spreadsheet, we need to drag our formulas to the end of the table. And you can see that some numbers duplicate. Cumulative sales doesn't grow. This is because our forecast is only for the current year. So if we don't have a forecast for the next year, the best way to fix it would be just to loop the current year at the end of the table. I will also hide all the helper columns and rows. And now it's all good. You can play with your orders plan and balance your stock coverage. Thanks for watching.